Hello and welcome to the Dallas Soccer Show. I'm Dustin Nation, and joining me from the fetal position from his FC Dallas withdrawal is Jonathan Roz. What's happening, Jonathan?
I think you called it out, man. 2 weeks without FC Dallas is, I mean, it shouldn't be that long. I don't know how I'm going to deal with the off season, but it did feel like a long 2 weeks. At least last night we had some fun MLS to watch that turned out, reasonably okay, especially that the Colorado LA game. But overall, I think I'm ready for Chicago on Saturday.
Same here. Yeah, there's some pretty decent results for FC Dallas across the league, so that's good. Still in that top 7 with almost everybody having the same amount of games played, so definitely a good thing. But on Saturday at 2:30 Central, FC Dallas will be taking on the Chicago Fire in the Brimstone Cup. So we thought we'd start off with a little bit of Brimstone Cup, some Brimstone Cup facts. So you may or may not know that it was named the Brimstone Cup because at its inception, the teams were called the Chicago Fire and the Dallas Burn. And both are fire-related, as is Brimstone. So that is why it's called the Brimstone Cup. The current holder is Dallas, and Dallas has won it 10 times to Chicago's 6 in the official years. There are some unofficial tallies that you could go through and retroactively apply, but officially, and that's what we care about here, it's 10-6. There were 2 years along the road that there were no winners. They tied in points, and so the previous year's holder kept it. So if you count those years, it'd be 12-6 with Dallas holding both of those, holding the cup after both of those seasons. So real quick, Jonathan, got a quiz for you.
Awesome, because I'm a huge fan of the Brimstone Cup.
All right.
Said sarcastically.
According to FCDallas.com, the top scorer in the series is an FC Dallas player. Which FC Dallas player is it?
I'm going to go with Kenny Cooper.
Ding, ding, ding.
Seriously?
Brimstone Cup connoisseur Jonathan Roz, folks.
That was somewhat of a lucky guess, just thinking about some of our big goal scorers over the years. But I did joke about it a little bit before the podcast started that I think Brimstone started a bit before I was really watching FC Dallas. So I think for those people who have been diehard for a long time, it means something to me. I just want to win against Chicago this weekend.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat. I know there's history, and I know that there's I guess we'll call it a legacy there, and but I feel like if you come in behind it, it's just another game with a team that we don't ever play. And I know the supporters groups get into it and everything, but I also struggle to necessarily care about this as a cup competition or a rivalry. I think there are other rivalries that are a lot more exciting to me, but be that as it may, we will be playing Chicago and there will be a cup on the line. So, Jonathan, why don't you start us off with some stats, stories, and players from the Chicago side in this match build-up show?
So, Dustin, the biggest story from a Chicago perspective is not really related to the game, but more what's going on with the club. So, earlier this year, we saw an announcement that the Chicago Fire was looking to move away from their current stadium back into Chicago. So they currently play in SeatGeek Stadium, which is out in the burbs. Just yesterday, they actually got sign off from, I believe it was the city council within Chicago, to continue with the negotiations with the plan of starting to play there in Soldier Field next year. So it'll be interesting. It'll be another team moving out of a a soccer specific stadium into a football stadium to try to get closer to the fans. I think it's somewhat interesting from an FC Dallas perspective, to maybe watch from afar. Not to say that They're in quite the same situation, but I know many people always talk about, stadium situations with FC Dallas being out in the burbs. The Frisco or the Collin County, Denton County area, I think is significantly bigger and more built out. But I think you could do some correlation back to it to just be interesting to kind of watch and see to see if it's really going to make a difference in fan turnout.
Yeah, it will be interesting. I have some thoughts and some predictions, but I'm going to keep those to myself for now.
Yeah, but Chicago paid they paid $65 million to get out of that contract. So just thinking about that, there's no way we'd ever do that.
No,
here for FC Dallas, and I don't think it would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, especially after the Hall of Fame investment.
Yeah,
they're not just going to leave that stadium.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and an extension with the city is part of that, right? There's an additional bond and an extension. I can't remember I think it was at least 10 more years to help fund that. So it is probably the most interesting storyline. Chicago is still in the playoff hunt. They're currently sitting outside of the playoffs, but they're only off by a few points. The bottom of the East is close, similar to what we're seeing in the West. Some of the key stat for me is right now from a home match perspective, the Chicago is 7-2-6, including a 2-0 win. Playing shorthanded, they got a red card against Philadelphia in their last home game. Still won 2-0. And my player to watch is really that person who scored those 2 goals. So Nikolic, who, interesting enough, came from the same Polish league that our fan favorite Cobra came from. When he moved to MLS 2017, Golden Boot winner, really lit things up. Last year was not as strong. He only has 11 goals this season, but why I think it's really interesting to watch him is it's more about how he's been playing recently. So in the month of August, he's got 5 goals. And interesting enough, those 5 goals came off of 5 shots. So it's one of those things that we got to be careful and not give him any space. Yeah, very, very, very clinical. I felt like you had something to say there.
Yeah, I did. It's funny when you say he only has 11 goals. Wow. How much would FC Dallas fans give in order to be able to say one of our player only has 11 goals?
Yeah, well, that is interesting, right? Because it's when you go back and you look at his 2017 year, which I think was lower 20s, 22, 23, something like that. I don't remember the exact number, but maybe 11 is not that great. But yes, I would agree. We would be more than happy to have that problem. So that's Chicago. What are some of the key things you're looking at from an FC Dallas perspective this weekend?
Right. So FC Dallas, there's one stat that is just looking at over the past 3 matches that really just kind of stood out to me, and that's +9. And that +9 is in the goal differential since the 59th minute of the Montreal match. That would be 10 goals for and 1 goal against in open play, and 11 and 2 overall. So FC Dallas has really been on a scoring tear. It's refreshing to see. It's exciting to see. It's also been against some opponents that may not be the strongest ones in the league. Cincinnati, obviously not a team that's really doing much of anything besides losing. So, it'll be interesting to see whether that stat and that shall we say it, momentum, goal scoring momentum carries over into this game against Chicago. As far as storylines go for FC Dallas, it's also a 9. So 2 9s, if you will. 9 first-team players coming back from the national team duty. That would be Brian Acosta, Reggie Cannon, Jesse Gonzalez, Paxton Pomacall, Thomas Roberts, Edwin Cerrillo, Jesus Ferreira, Brandon Cervania, and Ricardo Pepi. So all those players will be coming back in some point throughout the week. Not all of them played. I know and some played more than others, but all of them have come back at some point in the week, and we'll have to be reintegrated into the squad, and we'll have to see how and what that looks like on Saturday afternoon in Chicago to see if we'll talk about it here with our predictions coming up. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how those players get reintegrated and who's up for the match and everything. As far as players to watch, I'm gonna go with Jesus Ferreira. He didn't see any playing time over the week off. I think he traveled with the under 20 or under 23 team, but due to some paperwork reasons, he wasn't able to get on the field and get that cap, if you will. So he'll be hungry. I think he's been hungry. He's been on a good run of form. Made some great passes. Been really trying to make that, I guess we'll call it the 10 role his own. That behind the striker role his own. And I look to see him can try to continue that and have a good game against Chicago. All right.
So let's get into the lineups. So
hey, let's do it. All right. So again, we'll do kind of the same formula as we did in the last match build-up, where we will talk about what the previous lineup was, and then kind of see where changes might happen. So a goalie was Jesse Gonzalez. He was out on international duty with some of his compadres, and so we'll have to see if he is also going, if we predict him to come back in the lineup. Defense, we had Reggie Cannon, Matt Hedges, Reto Ziegler, and Ryan Hollingshead. In the midfield, it was Brian Acosta, Brandon Cervania, and Jesus Ferreira. And in the front was Michael Barrios, Zdeněk Ondřesek, and Dominic Baji, as the front three. Jonathan, do you see any changes going into this match?
Well, I'll start with we know that there's going to be one change, and that's Acosta is on yellow card accumulation, so he's unavailable to play in this match. So we know at least that one will change. I'm going to start with the back line. So one of the things that I do think we have to contemplate would be Cannon did come back late in the week. He did get two strong games with the men's national team. So there could be a question mark on whether or not you throw him out, or if you would perhaps use Brisson in that space. Based on prior experience with Reggie Cannon, I feel like Reggie, maybe shows up at practice with a baseball bat and says, "Coach, you better play me." Maybe not quite, but despite the fact that Reggie has got a lot of miles over the last week, I still think he will play. In the midfield, really, it's contemplating what do you want to do. So Acosta's out. I think Jesus and Cervania are both locks to continue in the midfield. So the question is, do you shift them back a little bit and insert Paxton as your 10 or your second 8, or however you want to line it up, or do you keep the same formation that you had before and pull in more of a 6 to replace Acosta, and that would either be Edwin Cirillo or Hayes? Mm-hmm. From my perspective, as much as I want to see Paxton start in the midfield again, and it's not like he got a ton of minutes while he was gone, so I'm sure he's also going to be excited to get back. I'm not going to change the formation after you're winning, handily for the last couple of games. So I'm going to say that the change in the midfield is Edwin Cirillo for Acosta. And then up front, I'll make it easy for you. No changes. I think the Baji and Dresnek, Mikey trio will continue to start. But before you go, I have a quick question for you,
Sure.
Justin. Have you heard anything on Santi? I think I saw something saying he was practicing. Have you heard anything from any sources around how he's looked?
I have not. I did see photos. It did look like he traveled with the team, I think. Maybe I was just flipping through social media and just kind of saw it. So I think that I saw that. I'm not certain. I haven't heard anything about how he's looked coming off the injury and what his recovery is like. I know he just had a kid, like Monday or Tuesday of this week. So congratulations, Santi. He joins Matt Hedges as a new dad. So and groundskeeper Alan Reed as well. So which you can look back in our catalog and you can hear how he keeps Toyota Stadia looking and feeling fresh for the fans and the players. If you'd like, plug there. Anyways, Santi, I haven't heard. I'm gonna guess that if he comes in at all, he'll be in as a sub. If he did in fact travel.
Yeah, I would, from what I've seen, the bit I have seen around practice, unfortunately I didn't get a chance to get out there this week. I was hoping to, but the bit I did see about practice, it did sound like he was practicing pretty much full on. So I'm assuming he's coming off maybe not fully off the injury list, but I don't expect he'll be questionable. So what are you thinking, man? Are you going to change things different than I am? Or are you going to stick with the same, obviously, other than Acosta?
Yeah, the Reggie Cannon call about him playing, I completely agree with. He's a machine. He'll be there. If he has legs that are attached to his torso and they move back and forth, then he'll be on the field. The guy played all but like 2 minutes of last year. I think that a couple extra games in the span of 2 weeks isn't going to keep him off the field. The midfield's interesting because there's no Brian Acosta. He's been playing that 6 role. And as you said, the choice is bring Paxton in, who didn't really play a whole lot for the men's national team, but did go on to the camp, and he did get on the field. I don't think I see Paxton playing this game as a starter. I think I see him coming in around the 60th minute or so, depending on how things are going. But in that spot, you got to remember that Ja'Cory Hayes did play for North Texas SC on Tuesday night. So I think I would put Edwin Serio in there as that 6 and keep that traditional 10-6-8 look and feel when we have the ball that Lucci's been talking about. So, and then as far as the front goes, I'm with you, no changes. So the only change that I see from Cincinnati would be Serio getting in as the 6 for Brian Acosta. So with that lineup and with your new knowledge of Chicago, having researched them for this show, Jonathan, do you have a score prediction for this match?
I do have a score prediction. I'm being optimistic. I think that FC Dallas goes in on it's not quite a must-win game, but I think that we've got to get at least 2 home wins and then get some points away. Chicago's probably our easiest away game. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go 2-1 FC Dallas with the man of the match, Michael Barrios. That is a
solid shout. Barrios team, he's been racking up those man of the matches. So I also am going to go optimistic here. I think on our last show with Armand, we did predictions, and I did predict this one being a winner. So I can't really go back on it now. So I'm gonna go with a 3-2 FC Dallas win, keeping that offense rolling against a team that's mediocre-ish in the East. So I've got goals by Cobra Jesus and Reto Ziegler with a penalty. So super specific. If that happens, I don't know. I might have to just go start.
I'll buy you a beer or something.
Yeah, I might have to start betting on the games or something. But yeah, I think man of the match, it's either going to be Barrios or Jesus Ferreira.
So, all right. I'd be excited to see that. Obviously, we won't get a chance to do a preview show for the Seattle game, a match build-up show. I mentioned this, beforehand. Before we started recording, I'm excited because I'll be in Seattle for that game. Even though we don't often do very well, FC Dallas in Seattle, I'll be on Twitter taking some pictures and hopefully, not sulking back to Dallas after the game. But I think really, really good calls. I I think we do have a good chance. I'm with you, Dustin. I like the 3-2 prediction. You know, the one goal win. I think it's, you know, it actually, unlike, you know, a month ago, it actually feels like it's a possibility.
Yeah, the goals are flowing. Let's keep them going. All right, thank you so much for listening to the show, everybody. And you can catch us online, DallasSoccerShow.com, or on Twitter as Dallas Soccer Show, at Dallas Soccer Show. Jonathan Roz is at Jonathan Roz 12 on Twitter as well. So check him out. Give us all a follow and a shout out there. Let us know what you think the prediction will be, and where we got things wrong. So, all right. Thanks for listening. Have a good one.